Well, hello to my wonderful honors biology students. I want to go over the transport lab so you have some instructions for your lab today. This is what the lab setup looks like, and there's something that looks sort of similar to this all around the room for you. And I'm going to just go through what everything is and how you do this so you guys can get started on the lab. Today we're going to be looking at how different salt solutions, and that's these things right here, 0.0 molar NaCl, 0.15 molar, 0.1, 0.15, 0.2, and 0.25 molar NaCl. These are different solutions with different amounts of salt and different amounts of water, and how those amounts of salt affect the transport of water, or you should know that's osmosis, into and out of a cell. We are going to be looking at actually a bunch of cells. We're going to be looking at how these solutions move into and or out of some potato cells. But we can't just drop this potato into a test tube. It would be wasteful to the potato. And the skin of the potato doesn't really absorb water the way that the cell membranes of the cells inside do. So this is what the setup looks like. Let me go over what you are going to be using, and then I'm going to go over the actual lab itself. So you've got a test tube rack in it that's got two sets of test tubes. One set of 6 is for your class. The other set of 6 is for the other class. You've got some tape down here at the bottom that you're going to use to label your test tubes, so you can label them with the concentration of the salt solution. So these numbers here, and then you can put some marking on the tape that identifies your test tubes as yours, and then the other side can be for the other class. You've got a Sharpie in there. You've got this crazy potato core. I'm going to show you how to use this thing. It's to pull out little potato French fries so we can get rid of the skin. You'll have a potato and knife, cutting board. Notice there's some funnels for each of the solutions. We're going to use those. And then you've got a scale because we're going to be measuring percent change in mass. So first things first, we're going to cut out our potato cores. The potato core has two parts, kind of a hollow part here, and then a little smaller part to poke out. You're going to take 12 potato cores out of the single potato because you're going to end up putting 2 cores per solution for a total of 12. And you can see how I did that. I just poked it out and pushed it through with the potato core, and I end up with a little French fry that's got skin on both sides. You can see there's a hole in the potato there, and you want to be really careful about the way you conserve your potato. This is what it should look like when you are done punching out your 12 cores. I want to make sure you understand to check something. I know it's hard to see here, but this potato core has a little slice out of it because I kind of went at an angle with my core, and the other ones are perfectly cylindrical. If they're not perfectly cylindrical and they have a little slice taken out, you're going to want to throw that one away because that slice has actually changed the surface area to volume ratio of our potatoes. And you can see how I really tried to space these out so that I didn't end up with a lot of those misshapen cores. And then I'm just going to want to take my cores and get the skin off, and I'm going to start them at approximately the same size. So I'm just cutting along the side there, getting rid of the skin, because again, the skin doesn't allow for transport in the way that the other parts of the cell do. And then I'm just going to cut here. So we have 12 cores, approximately the same size, and none with skin. All of this little potato piece will get thrown away, and there's my 12 cores. It doesn't matter if they're exactly the same size, because remember, we're going to be doing percent change in mass. Okay, you're going to take these 2 cores, any 2, and you're going to grab 1 test tube. I'm going to label this test tube first as my 0.0 molar test tube, and I'm going to put my initials on there so I remember that that's me. And I'm going to go ahead and label my test tube first so that I don't lose track. Okay, and then I'm going to leave a little space on my label here. Didn't leave much space on this label to actually write my measurement down. And this is where I'm going to go over to my scale. I'm going to turn my camera over here, and I'm going to go over to my scale with my 2 potato pieces. Let's see, I'll scoot the scale over. How about that? And I'm going to weigh these as a unit. So I'm going to make sure to zero my scale out so that even with the weigh boat on it, it's 0. I'm not measuring the weight of the boat. I drop 2 in there and I get the, oh, look at that, exactly 2 grams. I don't know that you'll get a number that great, but I'm going to just go ahead and write that on my tape, 2.0 grams. I know that's not super neat, but now you're going to know that these 2 go in this test tube and that weighs 2 grams. Then I can transfer this number onto my data sheet. I'm going to do that same thing for my next one, my 0.05 molar solution. And as you can see, my mass is 1.96 grams, not quite as perfect. And it's fine. It doesn't matter that they're not the same. That's why we measure them to start. Go ahead and tape it on here. And then I'm going to put the cores right into the test tube so I don't lose track of them because they all kind of look the same. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all 6 of the solution types. I'm going to make one test tube for each of these different colored solutions. And then I'm going to go ahead and fill them, just covering the potatoes with the solution. So this is my 0.0. I'm going to use a funnel to do this. And I'm going to just barely cover the solution with the water, the salt water. And in this case, you probably want to kneel your head down just a little bit down so you can see how much you're putting in. If you look, I don't need to measure how much. I just need to make sure the liquid is covering my potato cores. And in fact, I probably put a little much in there. Let's do one with color. This is my 0.05, and if I look over here, that's my red solution is 0.05. So I'm just going to barely cover my solution, my little guys there, my potatoes. And again, I'm probably putting a little bit too much. I'm trying to rush here. So there's that. Then you're going to go ahead and take these numbers, these mass numbers, enter them on initial mass, and then you're done. Make sure you do that for all of your 12 pairs of potatoes, and then you'll just leave your test tubes in the rack on this side like this, labeled. Okay, please throw your potato away, rinse off your knife, get rid of all your potatoes and wash down your cutting board. Get everything set up with new tape and a new potato for the next class if you're my 3rd period. And when in doubt, read the directions. You'll have the lab manual that I'll send to you on Canvas, the transport laboratory, and the instructions for day 1 are right here. You can see that in the lab, it actually gives you a place to write down the concentration and the initial mass. You won't have final mass data until we get back on Thursday. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.